Pistol shots ring out in a ballroom night. Enter Patty Valentine from the upper hall. She sees a bartender in a pool of blood. Cries out, "My God, they've killed them all." Here comes the story of the hurricane, the man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell, but one time he could have been the champion of the world. Three bodies lying there does Patty see, and another man named Bello moving around mysteriously. "I didn't do it," he says, and he throws up his hands. "I was only robbing the register, I hope you understand. I saw them leaving," he says, and he stops. "One of us had better call up the cops." And so Patty calls the cops, and they arrive on the scene with their red lights flashing on a hot New Jersey night. Meanwhile, far away in another part of town, Reuben Carter and a couple of friends are out driving around when hand up for the middleweight crown. Had no idea what kind of shit was about to go down when the cops pull him over to the side of the road, just like the time before and the time before that. In Patterson, that's just the way things go. If you're black, you might as well not show up on the streets unless you want to draw the heat. Alfred Bello had a partner and a rap for the cops. Him and Arthur Dexter Bradley were just out prowling around. I saw two men run out, they looked like middleweights, jumped into a white car without a state plate. And Miss Patty Valentine just nodded her head. A cop says, "Wait a minute, boys, this one's not dead." So they took him to the infirmary. And though this man could hardly see, he told them he could identify the guilty man. Four in the morning, they drag Reuben in, haul him to the hospital, and they bring him upstairs. The wounded man looks up through his one dying eye, says, "What'd you bring him in here for? He ain't the guy." Yes, here's a story of the hurricane, the man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell, but one time he could have been the champion of the world. Four months later, the ghettos are in flame. Reuben's in South America are fighting for his name, while Arthur Dexter Bradley's still in the robbery game, and the cops are putting screws on him, looking for somebody to blame. Remember that murder that you happened in a bar? Remember you said you saw the getaway car? How would you like to play ball with the law? Think it might have been that fighter you saw running that night. Don't forget that you are white. Arthur Dexter Bradley says, "I'm really not sure." The cop says, "A poor boy could use a break. We got you for the motel job, been talking to your friend Bello. You don't want to go back to jail now, be a nice fellow. You'd be doing society a favor. That son of a bitch is brave and getting braver. We want to put his ass in the stir. We want to pin this triple murder on him. He ain't no gentleman Jim." Reuben could take a man out with just one punch. He never liked to talk about it all that much. "It's my work," he'd say, "I'll do it for the pay. And when it's all over, I'll just as soon go on my way." to some paradise where the trout streams flow and the air is nice, and ride a horse along the trail. But then they took him to the jailhouse where they tried to turn a man into a mouse. All of Reuben's cards were marked in advance. The trial was a pig circus. He never had a chance. The judge made Reuben's witnesses drunkards from the slums, and to the white folks who watched, he was a revolutionary bum. To the black folks, he was just a crazy nigger. No one doubted that he pulled the trigger. And though they could not produce the gun, the DA said he was the one who did the deed, and the all-white jury agreed. Reuben Carter was falsely tried. One was murder one, and guess who testified? Bello and Bradley, and they both boldly lied. The newspapers all went along for the ride. How can the life of such a man rest in the palm of such fools' hands? To see him obviously framed couldn't help but make me feel ashamed to live in a land where justice is a game. Now all the criminals in their coats and their ties, free to drink martinis and watch the sunrise, while Reuben sits like Buddha in a 10-foot cell, an innocent man in a live-in hell. Yes, here's a story of the hurricane, but it won't be over till they clear his name and give him back. This time he's done, put in a prison cell, but one time he could have been the champion of the world.